G'day guys, Terry here. Welcome back to another episode with Handcrafted by Terry G. G'day guys, Terry here. Welcome if you're new, and if you're regular, great to have you back again. Hey, we're out on location at the moment. We're at someone's special house, and that's right guys, we're standing next to Phil from Phil's Camp and Review. G'day Phil, how are you mate?
G'day Terry, how you going?
Yeah, excellent,
and
thanks
hello
mate.
guys out there in YouTube world, how are you?
Yeah.
Beautiful day here.
Yeah, I hope you're all well and all like that, which is really, really good. So we're here today. Phil's actually going to do the programming of the new setup in the caravan. And Phil, tell the people what we've actually got now that's going to help us out long-term in free camping, mate.
Yeah, it's going to certainly help you out long-term in free camping, all right? So basically, Terry has got a new 12-volt system / 240-volt system as well. Majority of it, as you're probably aware by now, it's Renogy. But literally everything's Renogy bar the batteries.
That's right.
The batteries were a real good deal. Was going with the King's battery. So I believe you end up putting 2 by 200 amp hour lithium King batteries in there. Mm-hmm. So they're at a good price at the moment. They got the real good chemistry in them as well, which is your Life PO4s, which is what you need when when you've got batteries inside your caravan, etc. You want something safe technology, something that's going to last, something that's reliable, particularly inside your vehicle. So you always look for your Life PO4. And to be frankly guys, most of them out there, even your cheaper ones now, are Life PO4. But just double check and make sure on that. So Terry's got that, and to tell you the truth, Terry's been putting all this good stuff all by himself together, guys.
Yeah, I've done all the wiring. Yes.
I've been helping him out over the phone and doing messaging and so on.
Yeah, you certainly have. Yeah.
And Terry's just been sort of connecting it all up. So I'm actually going to be looking at all his work for the first time today.
Yeah, super excited, guys.
I'm going to have a look here. Yeah, we're going to cut over and we'll have a look and see what Terry has done here.
Yeah.
So here we go. So Terry has installed all his gear, most of it, bar the inverter charger, which is mounted inside, which is a very good idea. As it's usually not a good idea if you can help it not to mount those too, well in some ways yes, you do want them close to the battery but not exactly close by, just for safety reasons, etc. so on. Because guys, we're talking 240 volts here as well. No, it's just not this 12 volt, it's also 240 volt. So this is his setup. Check it out. So Terry's done a really good job here. You'll notice first the batteries. So he's got the batteries I see connected in parallel. He's using, now I told Terry to use some thick cabling. And oh boy, did he use some thick cabling. I said 90 mil is more than enough, but he's got 120 mil cable in it. So what you see there guys, that's 120 mil cable. Now it's cabling that you normally will see in the marine industry. So they only use the one color, which is the orange color. They use that for both the positive and the negative, and then you tell them apart by just using the proper colors of the heat shrink. So I almost forgot what they were going. So you can see he's got the positive with the red heat shrink on the terminals, the negative with the black heat shrink. They're using the same cables. Now connecting in parallel, so you can see when you connect in parallel, so you go from the positive to the positive, the negative to the negative. And what you must do, as Terry has done here, you choose one positive from one battery as your main positive, and then you do not, whatever you do not select the negative on the same battery. You need to select the negative on the opposite battery, on the second battery, okay? which is exactly what Terry's done here. So if you look right, you've got your positive off this battery, you've got your negative off this battery. That's how you need to do this. That way they will charge evenly. If you only have them set on one side, one battery is going to get majority of the charge, and then the other battery is not going to start charging until the other battery is fully charged, and that one will only charge really slow, and it's not a good idea. Then what's going to happen is they're not going to be even. Both batteries are not going to have similar amps, similar voltages through them. So you must wire it up like that, and exactly what he's done. So he's got the fuses set up correctly, as you can see. Now from then on, pretty much everything else is mostly Renogy gear. Renogy is pretty good for the money, okay? If you haven't got the budget for your Red Arc and your Enerdrive and your particular Victron gear and so on, I think the Renogy is the next best thing. Quite considerably cheaper, But yeah, Renogy's come along heaps and bounds recently, guys. So their software is quite impressive. Their software features are set up and so on. So what he's got here is you can see he's got the DC charger set in there. At the moment, it's charging on the solar because he's got two cheap Chinese solar panels that still works on this caravan. So you might as well connect that up and set that up. So that's working, and then it's a DC, what is it, a 50 or 50 amps?
Yep.
So he's putting in 50 amps as he's driving along. And then for future, this is a big Rover 60 amp MPPT solar charge regulator. That thing is humongous, guys. Now in saying that, I mentioned before that if you're on a bit of a budget, it's probably not the one to buy.
I think I went overboard.
How much was that one there?
That one there, I got it on special. That one was $369.
$369.
Reduced down from 400 and something.
Yeah, they're over $400, guys. I checked the other day. I think this morning they were $400.
So I got it at a really good deal.
Yeah, no, you got it at a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
But guys, that thing there will handle 150 volts input. 150.
That's quite a lot.
Input.
And we were looking at getting two of them, weren't we?
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure on the voltage.
That's the thing. Terry was going to, because he's got 4 solar panels already, and
they're 380 watts per panel.
Yeah, apparently they're 380 watt per panel. They're 12 volt panels. So when you use this Rover set at 12 volt, I think the maximum you can put in is 800 watts.
Yep.
So you're thinking then, you know, you're going to have to buy two by 400 is just crazy. But connect it in series. If you connect the solar panels in series, this thing will handle no problems at all because it's got 150 volts input. And that's a reason. I mean, guys, this is a reason why this thing is worth $400. It's because of the features on it. It's a 60 amp. Okay, so it'll charge up to 60 amp into your battery and up to 150 volts. Now, at 150 volts, your wattage is just, mate, you'd almost get away using that in the house just about to charge.
Just about, mate.
Just about, you know, you could just about use that in the house. So, I mean, for example, even at, what is it, I think it's 48 volts, 48 volts, it'll handle up to 3,500 watts, 3,500 watts at 38 volts.
Which is quite substantial, isn't it? Yeah, quite massive.
That is massive. So my suggestion was, I told Terry the other day, Terry, you just waste some money if you buy another solar regulator.
Yep.
So my suggestion is to have 2 banks of solar panels. He's got 4 panels. Connect 2 in series. Okay, so connect the two panels in series, and then connect them up, and then that'll, because he's got up to 150 volts to work on, guys. So actually I would connect probably 24, 48. I would connect instead of doing 2 by banks, I'm just thinking now, just series connect the whole lot, the whole 4.
The whole 4 altogether.
The whole 4 altogether, just series connecting the whole 4.
Okay.
Because then you're looking at what's open voltage. I think there was about 20, 40, 60, 80, 80, 90 volts. That's only going to be 80, 90 volts.
Yep, yeah.
So, and that thing will handle 150 volts.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're still, you know,
Yeah,
you're not working at nowhere near as hard. So just do that.
Yep.
So to do that, obviously you just connect from positive
Yep.
to negative,
yep.
on each solar.
Yep.
So the positive from one solar goes to the negative on the other solar.
Yep.
Then the positive of that solar goes to the negative, and so on. And so you join them all together like that,
All in there.
and then eventually you're going to be left over with one spare positive on the left hand side, and you'll have a spare positive on the right hand side.
Sure. Yep.
And then boom, that connects straight
Yeah.
into here.
And you wouldn't believe it too, guys, with the Renogy Rover 60 amp MPPT charger, it can take up to 20 mil cable inside the Renogy Rovers.
Yeah,
and
25.
It's just 25
25 mil.
Yeah, it's
These
absolutely
have got the
phenomenal.
lugs on them is big enough that you can run 25 mil square cabling.
It's phenomenal, isn't
so
it?
that's incredible. But that's coming up in the future. That one.
Yep.
So it's sitting there now, but
Yep.
it's not powered up
Yep.
yet. But what we're going to do now, so we're going to go inside and show you the Renogy inverter charger.
Yep.
So it's a 12 volt slash inverter 240 volts. So it'll charge by 240 volt, and it's also got the inverter that runs off the 2 by 200 amp hour King's batteries. So it's got 400 amp hours to play with, guys. 400 amp hours.
So that'll entitle as well, which when we worked it out was 4,800 watts that we could actually play with these two batteries, isn't it, Phil?
So it's very impressive. So he's done a really good job here.
Yep.
And it's it's well laid out. He's still got plenty of room if you want to ever expand it more later on, but I don't think he needs to.
Yep.
What else could you want on here? There's everything's so see, he's got the shunt here, so he's using the Renogy shunt, as you can see. Decent sized fuse, 250 amp fuse. So he's got the 2000 watt. He probably could have gone away with maybe a 300 amp fuse, but the 250 I think would be plenty.
I think that's plenty.
That's plenty, because that's there to protect the cabling from heating up and burning. Okay, so that's why you need to fuse it properly. That's why it needs to be fused. You can see he's changed the fuse box here and put a much better one over there.
That's come up really, really well, hasn't it, the fuse box?
That
and
one
then
sure does.
the other day when I did the video on the fuse box there, Phil, we noticed there was a heap of holes in that back panelling, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And we kind of looked at it and went, Terry, we needed to do something about that.
I looked at it. You sent me. I was looking at the because how we were working together. I mean, Terry did all this installation. I didn't install because we live about nearly 130 k's apart, and so Terry is confident to do all this, and I just advised him along the way where he needed to be advised.
Yep.
And that's that's what he's done here, and he's followed it. And at times we did video messaging. We've done a lot of video messaging.
We certainly did. Yeah,
and
I think every night we did it.
And I said, "What's that? Is that a dartboard?"
Yeah, it actually looked like one.
There's been a lot of changes in here. You should have seen all the screw holes on there.
It was phenomenal, wasn't
so
it?
next day, Terry he puts this up.
Yep. I ripped it all out, guys, and redone it again with plywood and nice nice carpet in behind it, auto carpet, and it certainly brings out the colours with the orange cables a lot more, doesn't it, Phil? It's
a beautiful orange colour.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Really pops in behind it.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
Well, let's go inside and look at this inverter.
That sounds great.
So Terry has decided to mount the inverter charger under the lounge chair just on the other side where the batteries are. So good idea, very short cable runs. So that's the ideal, particularly when you're talking inverters of 2000 watts, etc. Even 1000 watt. You want to try to keep the cable run as short as possible. Bear in mind it's not a good idea having them too close to the battery as well, in case something goes wrong and sparks or whatever. But as long as you wire it properly and you've got the proper fuses, you shouldn't have any issues. So here we are. Terry's got it mounted in here. Now the 240 volt obviously has not been mounted as yet, because that needs to be done by a qualified electrician, okay, to be certified. That has to be done by a qualified electrician now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set this up in the settings for the correct battery type. So we know we've got a lithium. Now, reading through the Renogy, I have set one of these up before, and it's Steve from Saw Adventures.
Now, he's got a beautiful setup in the FJ.
He has. He's got an awesome setup. We did program this. He's got the same Renogy charger, exactly the same. There's no different. Now,
and that's one of the reasons why I went Renogy too, Phil, is because we've seen how well the Renogy worked with Steve and Annie.
We've been camping with Steve and Annie, and you've seen how well it works.
Exactly, it's absolutely flawless.
And Steve always rates, very highly of it. He's extremely happy with that setup, and
now he's just changed his battery over to a light time.
Yeah, light. What's it called?
Light time.
Light time. Yeah. Another budget battery that's come on the market.
Yeah. How great was that video?
It's actually even cheaper than the King's, I believe, and it's got the Life PO4.
Yep.
Although the one he's got, the BMS is a little bit low for it, so it's only good for like 100 amp continuous charge rate.
But I don't think it'll go through that though. 100 amps is quite a fair bit.
It is today, these days now. It is. It doesn't take much to get that 100 amps. But that brand of battery that he purchased, if you spend an extra, I think it might have been at the time of filming, it's extra $100, and you will get a BMS upgrade that's capable of running your inverters and so on, such as these here. So basically, the one they gave to Steve, it's good for running your LED lights and just small items, as long as they're below 1,000 watts. 1,000 watts would be the maximum I would push through it in that particular one. But you'll have no problems with this setup here, because I believe, well, that's the thing, when you connect two in parallel, it actually doubles the output as well, because you've got two batteries to share. So that's another thing. Steve could always get an additional one and connect them in parallel, and that will rectify that issue.
That issue,
But now, you go into the menu, okay, these are a little bit more complicated than, well, actually, it's probably not. Probably the Victron is probably a must-have. I was going to say it's a little bit more complicated than the Victron, but probably for me at that stage, because I can't remember how I did it with Steve, hence why I got the book here. The Victron is a lot more complicated, but I've done it so many times that I just know, just offhand, without reading through the menu, I can remotely connect to mine and configure it within like 2-3 minutes. So basically, at the time we've been sitting here talking, I would have already finished configuring that.
So what you're going to do today, Phil, you're going to show us all how to program the Renogy inverter and charger, mate.
Well, particularly with lithiums, because my personal opinion, reading through the specs on these Renogys and reading through the menu, and they do have, I don't know if you can see that. So basically, you need to go into a program number, you need to go into a program menu 05, and then in 05 you've got B1, P2, B3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right up to BL. Okay, and these are all the settings that it sets corresponding to those batteries. So if you selected, for example, AGM1, it'll set your boost voltage to 14.1, it'll set your float voltage to 13.4. So they've got one here called BL for the lithium, but let me read something here in small print. It says when battery voltage reaches 14.7 volts, charging will stop. Okay, so 14.7, the charging will stop, so it's fully charged. But this is the next thing, okay? Read this. When battery voltage drops below 12.5, charging will resume.
Wow.
So in some ways that's good, in some ways not good. Now, a lithium battery, it's not like an AGM. An AGM likes to be charged all the time, okay? Likes to be max. The longest you keep it at max charge, as much as possible, the longer that battery is going to last. A lithium is no good to run a lithium like that. So you don't want to have a charger connected to the lithium all the time. A lithium's designed to be used. You know, you need discharge, charge, discharge, charge, discharge, charge. They're a lot more happier with doing that. So I can kind of understand why they're doing this, but I don't think this is a good way to set it when you're mobile and you're in a caravan, you're in your 4-drive, you're in your camper trailer like I have, because you could reach somewhere, say you're at a campground and you want to fully charge your batteries and you're staying there for a while, say you're staying somewhere for 4 or 5 days and you just want to just leave it plugged in and that's it, you know. That won't hurt. If you do it every, you know, so often and just leave it on charge, it's going to be fine. It's just as long as you don't leave it on charge and have a trickle charging all the time, like a lot of people do with your AGMs. When you go home, you pack it away, you plug a little small charger, electric charger in it, and you just leave it on all the time. With AGMs, or you just go back to it and charge it once every month or so. Just bring it right up top, you know, make sure it's fully charged.
Yeah, and a lot of people are confused lately too with lithium, aren't they, Phil?
Yeah.
Lithium is a lot more safer to use than your normal AGM battery. Is that correct, mate?
The lithium's are much more safer, the technology. Not all lithium, not all lithium. You got your lithiums, I don't know, where's your phone?
In the mobile,
you got your lithiums on these.
And they're a lot more dangerous than what we're using in the caravan.
So different technology, guys. Different technology. So it's a lot. You're looking for the Life PO4. Okay, so when you're looking for these batteries, you must have the Life PO4. All right.
Yep.
So and that's your safer technology. So now, example was given before. You pull up at a camp, and a lot of people do this. They're traveling around Australia, they pull up somewhere, they go to the caravan and they'll pull up there and they'll plug this in and they'll run this for 4 days. This here is going to charge to 14.7, but then it's going to stop charging. It won't start charging again until it's 12.5. 12.5 volts on a lithium is dead flat. Dead flat.
Wow.
So, yeah, it won't start charging until it drops down to below 12.5.
Gee.
I don't know about you, but I don't think that's the ideal way to do it. Luckily, if we go over the next page here, you can custom battery type, user mode. So you can set a custom battery. Now, it's quite complicated. There are extra menus you've got to go through. I've never done this here before. Terry's going to film me as we're going to do this.
That way, if it ever gets turned off and reset, I've got a reference, guys, to come back to, and that way I can program it myself when I'm out on the road somewhere remote. I don't have to ring Phil up and say, Phil, what does this do or what does that do? I can come back to this video, use it as a reference and be able to program it myself.
So we're doing this for the first time, guys. This is the first time for me as well.
Yeah.
I know, Stephen, you're watching this with real interest at the moment. I don't know if we set yours. I don't recall we set yours to a custom and set the float. Because if we had yours set to BL, then you might find that you could have this same issue what I just explained. But Stephen's probably never really picked up on it because he's always driving. He's on the road a lot. He's driving. So the DC is pretty much keeping that at charge.
That's right.
So that's why
that's the beauty of him having it in the vehicle, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't stay in one spot for all that long.
Right.
So we're going to go into the user mode here. We're going to set it up to custom. So when you do this, you need to know mainly two things most important. You need to know the boost charge, which is the charging voltage for that particular battery. Yep. Some manufacturers can be slightly different to others, and you need to know the float. Now, in order to
get... what is the float, mate? What does that do?
It's something that comes from, they use for the AGMs when it's got all these different, you can have all these different charge modes.
Right.
So you got your boost charge, you got your absorbent charge, and you got your float charge. So if you boost charge, you're charging at maximum. So maximum amperage, so it's much amps. So this is, say, this is a 65, 70 amp hour charger. It'll charge at 65, 75 amps. Yep. Now, if it was an AGM, then AGMs, when they get around over 80, 85, 90%, thereabouts, depending on the brand, state of charge, they then go into what's called an absorbent charge. Right. And what the absorbent charge is, then it just boosts the voltage up, but drops the amps down. So it takes a long time to reach that. Okay, it takes a lot longer to charge an AGM from 80% to 100% than it does a lithium to charge from 80% to 100%. Because the lithium doesn't need the absorbent charge. It eliminates that. Right. All it needs is a boost charge and the float. Okay. And I'll explain the float briefly shortly after I explain these two. So that's another big advantage with lithiums, is they're a lot quicker to charge right through the whole cycle. Okay, not only can you whack more amps into them, charge them a lot faster. Yeah. But they'll charge at maximum rate right until they're 100% full. Okay. And then what happens at the end, when their battery's full, then the voltage drops down, usually sits around about 13.6 volts, and it just trickle charges, just floats there, just sits there like that, and it just holds that voltage. Okay, so that's basically what it is. It's more like for AGM type of thing to do that. Now, I went into the specifications for the King's batteries, and it says to have the boost charge set at, was it 14.6 volts? Yep. And they said that's to have that set at the maximum. That there on standard lithium mode is actually set to 14.7, so it's actually 0.1 of a volt higher than what they are recommending. So another reason, particularly if you're using a King's battery, another reason to set this by user, you know. Yep. Like a user, you could change it yourself. Interesting, it listed a float volt of 14.4 volts, which is very, very high, very high. I think that's too high. I'm going to set it, preferably from my experience, I'm going to set it down to 13.8. Now, if later on it needs to be changed to 14, a bit higher, you'll be able to watch this video and see how to do it. That's right, mate. Yep. So before this video gets too long, you might have to split this up into 2 or 3 parts.
I might have to, yep. Even though my last video went for an hour and 13 minutes, you know. But it was quite a good video. At least you guys are aware then on how to connect up a fuse box in your van or your camper trailer or whatever it may be that you're trying to do. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So talk us through the inverter there, Phil.
Right. So now we've got a. It's been a while since I've gone into the menu in one of these. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, that's an up and up. Go through the menu. That's a down. I think we select that one to go into the menu. Is that right, Terry?
Which one?
The one on the right with the arrow that points to the left.
Towards me, that's correct, mate.
Yes,
yeah. So that's your menu button?
I'm just having a look and going back to the menu, okay. So you can see here, hold down to enter programming setting menu. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Yep. And also it's got two actions on that one there. Number 2 is tap to change confirm setting and perimeter setting menu. So we have to remember that. Yep. This one here cycles through the menu. Exit setting menu, go back to the main menu. Okay, so when we're finished, we select on that one. So now we know we need to cycle through the menu and we know we need to go to 05. So if we hold that down, okay, And then I believe we then select these up ones and we go to 0.5. Okay, so we're set to BL. Alright, so that's what Terry selected now. But now we're going to go further. So let's have a look at the menu. I'm going over the next page. So now guys, if you're using Renogy batteries with this is probably configured ideally for the Renogy battery. So it's probably why we didn't have to worry about going through a custom setting on Steve's battery, because it's using the Renogy with the Renogy gear. When you're using a different one, then you need to look into it. Now, Stephen, that you've actually I know you'll be watching this with interest, I know that you've actually have changed from a Renogy to your new one that you just got given. So this is probably something you will need to do just to configure it correctly.
Is that because they use that RJ485 cable, which is just a standard Ethernet cable where they're all linked together? Is that right, Phil?
Possibly. I'm not too sure. Could be possibly. I haven't looked into that for sure.
Yeah.
But now we're going to the next menu here. So we're going to the custom battery. You want to show this here?
Yeah, mate.
It's in your menu. Custom battery type. So if the preset battery options are not compatible with this system, you'll need to custom the charging by the following step. Okay, so we got to go to program 05. Set the battery type to B0 by default. This unit is preset to boost at 14.3 and float at 13.7.
Okay.
So B0, okay, 05 B0. We don't want to use 14.3 or 13.7. We want to use 14.6 and 13.8. So, okay. So just reading this again. B0. Now B0 was one of the options. No, it's not. So it's not the option. So these are the different options you got for different batteries. As you can see here, we've got open lead acids, we've got gel 2s, we've got sealed lead acid, we've got AGM 1s, AGM 2 gel 1s, etc. Okay. So B0, 14.3, 13.7 is too low. I want to set it to higher that. Go to program 94 to determine whether the custom battery is a lithium or non-lithium. Program 94. So it looks like to set this up to custom, we first go here. So we then select, alright, we've got to select B0. B0, done. Alright. So now to select, go to program 94 to determine whether the custom battery is a lithium or not. So the custom battery, I don't know if we need to do this step. So now we go to 94. We might go down because it'd be 94. Select that. Okay, selection of battery type, program number 94. Determine whether the custom battery is a lithium or non-lithium battery, refer to the chart below. 94. Okay, now you saw that we didn't succeed there. I told Terry you could probably edit this a little bit out before, but no, because what happened is we didn't get an option in number 94 because we didn't save the section in 05 B0, so it wasn't set to custom. You can only change these settings if you set to custom. So to do that, so again we go to 05 and you now see it's B0. So you hit the tap and then you go up and down and then you must make sure you hit this again. Tap that, and that sets that. Okay, so that's set now, and then go out of the menu. And now the next step, you'll notice when we go to 94, we will have the option to select lithium. Now have a look here, guys. There's only a difference of just in the middle here. So in order to select lithium battery, we have to set ALB. Other battery types is I don't know what that is, P. So it's actually set for other battery types at the moment. So we're selecting that one. We change this. Make sure you put that to select it. Okay, so now we are in the custom. Now there's more to do. We need to now go to the next section and tell it what the maximum, what the boost charge rate we want to set, and then the next one we want to set what the float charge rate is set. So in order to do that, okay, let's have a look at the menu again. So I haven't read this far again. If you want to show the menu here.
Yep.
Now it says, if choosing a custom lithium, make sure the previous program 94 is set to ALB, which is what we just did. So otherwise, if program non-lithium, skip to step 4. So we're not going to skip to step 4 because it is a lithium. After setting program 94 to program, go to program 26. So we need to go to 26 to select the maximum charging voltage for your custom lithium battery. Okay, so Kings suggests 14.6. So we're going to go by their suggestions, 14.6.
Right.
So let's do that now. Let's go to menu.
Okay.
So we go back here again, have a look at this. Pretty easy, really. Oh, didn't hold it long enough. So then we go to menu, what was it again? 26, was it?
Yep.
Go up to 26. Okay.
27.
So now...
You got 27 there, Phil. Go back
27,
one. There you go. Yep.
26. Okay. So now we need to change that to 14.6. Now, I suggest... There we go.
No, go back one. Yep, now hold down that arrow key. There you go. Now you can change it.
I'm sorry about the beeping, guys, but that's just a part of this. 14.6 set.
Awesome.
So we've saved that now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we need to go to menu number 27, which is a 1-up. We need to set that at 13 point, I think we'll go 13.8 with this one. So click on that one to select it. This is the float. So it's 13.8. So one more. There we are. Hit that too. Okay. Now, so that's once finished programming the bit low voltage recovery charge. This will be this voltage that the battery discharged to before the inverter charges the battery to the predetermined battery actually. Okay, come back here, guys. We went ahead to us too far.
Did we?
Yeah, this is not the float charge.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So we've got some minor difficulties. We've skipped a step.
where's the float charge? Doesn't give you an option to set the float charge, does it? Okay, interesting. All right. So that's a boost. What I'm presuming 27 is the float charge. It might still be. It could be just another way of just. It says once program 27 set the battery. It sets a program 27 to set the battery low voltage recovery charge. This will be the voltage that the battery discharges to before the inverter charger charges the battery in the predetermined maximum charging voltage.
Okay.
Interesting. Section 94. Okay, let me read further if there's anything else.
And check this out, guys. Molly's got her own special reserve spot. Reserved for the dog. She's got a Molly blanket down there. And her Molly bed. And don't forget Molly's favourite toy. The pink flamingo. Woo! Back to Phil. So how are we going there, Phil?
Okay, interesting. 27. Menu 27 is used for both setting the low voltage
Yep.
or the float charge.
Right.
So you actually got to, I prefer to set the float charge and not the low voltage. So we just got to find out how to get into the float charge menu. Now if choosing a custom non-lithium battery, deep cycle, make sure program 94 is set to OTP. No, that's that one there, non-lithium. After setting program 94, go to program 26 to select the boost charging voltage for your... Okay, so you remember when we set in 94, we had to set number 94 to ALB.
Right.
And that's for lithium battery. Or you got the option of setting to this other something O. It's the different symbol P, and that's for other battery.
Right.
Now when you set this on the lithium battery, you don't get an option to set the float charge. It gives you, which is not normal. But what it does is it gives you the option to set a low battery. Now I can understand in some ways why Renogy have chosen this. I think Renogy is the only company I've noticed that's actually doing this, so this is quite fascinating. I've never come by this before. So you can't actually set a float charge when you set it to a lithium battery.
Right.
You can only set a float charge if you set it to an other battery, which is nothing wrong. We can still do that. But I'm interested to actually set this this low cutoff voltage, and then it charges when it... We might actually do this and see how it goes, and we can run some tests.
Okay.
And get some discharge out, and then see which mode it runs better at. So we'll run some tests. So seeing we're at that mode, now we'll set at 12.5 before. I thought 12.5 was way too low.
Yep.
Lithiums hold their voltages very high until they're down to about 20%.
Right.
13.
So it's not like an AGM where you can actually follow the voltage. Is that correct?
We might set it at 13.2.
Yep.
Let's set that one to 13.2. We'll have to play around with that setting. Okay, so let's give it a go. So what do we need? 27. So we go to 27 to set that. So that's interesting. I've never seen that before. No wonder I was a bit confused before. I'm assuming things. So 13.8. let's drop that down to say 13.2 and hit enter. Okay.
Molly's giving you a bath.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we're going to run some tests.
Okay,
See
awesome.
how that works.
Yep.
Let me check this. There's nothing else. It's there is another section here, section 4. It's choosing a custom non-lithium. Okay, now that one's talking about where you set 27 as a floating voltage. So isn't that interesting, guys?
Yeah.
So Renogy have decided to do away with the float charge thing. So what they've done is set up on their battery where you can set a low voltage and then the battery doesn't start charging. That's probably a good thing in a way. I'll have to give a thumbs up for Renogy for that, because like I said earlier on, lithium batteries are not designed to be kept at full charge all the time. They're designed to be used. These particular type batteries, you've got to use them. You've got to use them. It's much better for them. So you don't want to leave them fully charged all the time. So Renogy, to protect their batteries, I see what they've done is they've set a low voltage. So it's not charging. It's not keeping it at a peak all the time. So it's making sure it's working through the cycle.
Yep.
Okay. Now they had 12.5 set. I think 12.5 is too low. 12.5 would generally, it virtually means your battery's flat. It's going to totally flatten your lithium battery before, unless you whack a huge load in it. I'm talking, mate, even if a 2000 watt, even if you're whacking through 2000 watts, generally lithiums hold their charges quite high, so you may find it won't even go below 12.5.
Okay.
So that's the thing, that's the beauty of lithiums. They can hold a much higher voltage with a similar draw of what an AGM gets.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling what we got it set on there now will be ideal. But Terry's here for a few days, so we're going to be testing it over a few days, and we'll let you know at the end how that works. So basically that is the Renogy configured. That one there is fully configured. All we got left to do is the DC-DC. So I'm going to have a quick look through the menu of the DC-DC.
Yep.
And you might want to do another separate video on this one.
Another separate video on the DC-DC.
This one should be very easy, guys.
Yep.
This one should be very easy.
So do you need the iPad? Because that's what we're going to be using mostly, aren't we?
Can we configure it through the iPad?
We certainly can, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's do that.
Yep.
That'll be a lot easier.
I think
In fact, I don't even think I need to read the menu.
Okay.
Just grab the iPad. I'll just have a look at it, and in there I'll be able to... I'll be able to change the settings. Yep, do that.
Okay.
Right, so Terry's got the... Because it's Bluetooth, isn't it?
It is, mate, yeah.
So, because it's Bluetooth, now I see it's got some parameters already set here. It knows that it is lithium, but we need to go into settings. Usually you find settings if you go into here. Bang, there it is, settings. Okay. Maximum combined charging amps. So you can actually set the charging voltage, charging amps that goes into the battery. We know lithiums can handle 50 amps plus, no problems whatever. So we're going to leave it at that. We've got lithium. Now, interesting. Boost volts, so that we know that should be set to 14.6, but again we can't set a float point. Usually from experience there's a user setting. There it is there. Now we can set everything up here as we should. So low solar current shutdown. We'll leave these by default. 14.6, 13.2. We know that one we want to set that at about 13 point. What did I set the other one? 14.6, 13.8. Okay, save that. Let's check the others. Over voltage protection, 16 volts. I'd like to set that to 15. Okay, you shouldn't go more than 15 volts with lithium batteries. Low voltage disconnect, 11.1. I don't know what's involved in reconnecting these King's batteries if they go out. Just on to be on the safe side. Won't let me set anything lower than 11.1. Okay.
Hang on, Phil.
Interesting.
Now go back. Yep, 11.1. There you go. No. Doesn't like it, does it?
13.8, 15, 11.1. Low volts reconnect. Oh, that's a reconnect. Low volts disconnect. So that should be. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
What else we got here? Low voltage disconnect. That'll be fine. Boost duration. I'll have to check these settings and make sure they're correct later. Okay, so we got 14.6. We've got 13.8 float.
Yep.
So that should be fine. That's it.
Awesome.
So she's all configured correctly.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
We're done, Phil.
Now, normally it's a lot quicker than that.
Yep.
If you've done it a few times after a while. Now, if I was to do it again, it'll be a lot quicker.
Yep.
But it's a bit of a learning experience,
Right.
particularly on how they got lithium profile set on this. So again, if you don't like that, you don't want to muck around with that, you can always go to the other profile, the other one, and setting number 94.
Yep.
Go to other.
Right.
And then you'll be able to set setting number 27 as a float charge. All right. And that's how mostly the charging profiles are set for lithiums. And mostly we use them through the boost and we set a float charge. And the float charge is not as critical as the boost charge, which is the charging volt. That's one that's more critical out of the two.
Yep.
So it's interesting how Renogy's got theirs set up. So, cool. So we are all done.
We're all finished.
I'll bring it over to Terry to close.
How's that, guys? Absolutely phenomenal. Can't thank Phil what he's done. Thanks very much, Phil.
That's all right.
Really appreciate it, mate. And yeah, mate, we can't wait to get out in the van and you and your camper trailer and do a lot of camping. And we can't wait to get down the event too and see all you wonderful people when we get there. Hey, Phil?
At the event, he's talking about the Legends for Charity at
That's
Gumbara.
Yep.
Guys, it's
Not far.
mid-June, so we've still got about 6 weeks to go.
Yeah.
So we're not even in the middle of winter yet. And I noticed this morning at Gumbara, it was below zero.
Oh, so make sure you bring you plenty of winter woolies, I reckon, because she's going to be a cold one, guys.
Oh,
so.
yeah, I'm going to be mounting a diesel heater in my camper
I'm doing the same.
I go down there.
Yep, I'm doing the same. So where I've got the inverter at the moment, guys, right next to it's going to be the diesel heater.
Yeah, he's going to have a diesel heater there.
Yep.
Same here. I'm going to have a diesel heater in my camper trailer, eh?
Yeah.
I think you'd be crazy not to.
Yes. So there you go, guys. If you like this video, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. and stay safe, look after each other, and remember, as always, Phil, take it yourself, make it yourself. Thanks, guys. Take care now.
Cool.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye.